So you have, I guess, I don't know if you guys are going to share IRs. Upstairs, the KBR one has all KBR windows. Down here has the 6 solenoid KBR. The big difference between the two is, as far as you can concerned, is how far down you can see. So this one only goes down to 650 wave numbers, and the one upstairs, I think, will go down to 350. Besides that, there's a moisture content. You know, this can operate at a higher percent humidity. The upstairs one cannot. This KBR is very hygroscopic. You want to make sure you keep an eye on that desiccant, make sure it doesn't go bad. Not so much worried about the windows on the outside, because those are usually replaced. The bean splitter on the inside, if that gets degraded by moisture, then you got to send it back in. That's one thing I can't fix on site, is anything in the interfront. It's so small and compact, and the bean splitter is so small and compact. I would need special tools, and they don't give us that training for something so small. Plus the time it would take to do it, I guess, is not worth the money Agilent would have to spend for me to spend like days here trying to align. So I'm just going to run this test, but what you can see is it guides you through pictures. So obviously you guys will need it, but it's more for like the novice person. If you never ran an IR in your life, you're like, oh, this is good. So we kind of gear it towards both. And then now you see here is the real-time clock. So to run this calibration, I put that spacer. Down on the edge. And then when you hear that click, that's just, it's not letting you go further. So as long as you got flat film or liquid or solid, that's questionable. Like how we I've had people try to put rocks on this thing right behind. It has to be, crushable. But you can turn it as much as you want. You can't break that crystal. So what I do is, get a good signal, kind of turn it so it maximizes. And this test takes about 5 minutes. But what this is doing is it's calibrating the laser based on the wave numbers it's getting off the pulse. And I can't remember for the ATR, it's like 5 or 6. And it's usually sub 1,000 or around 1,000, and it picks so many wavelengths up like 3,000. Is the last one. And it covers the whole spectrum for the calibration. And I'll go through this as soon as these last two tests are done. But there is a laser gain, and then there's a source gain that you have to adjust based on your sensor. Well, laser gain you should never have to touch. The source gain you will based on your sensor. I'm going to show you this because I know you guys are video programming. There is a program, and it's hidden, buried, not necessarily buried, but it's buried here. And if you kind of scroll down, it's this M-test one. That one, if you need to have communication with BSNL right now, I've used up that with my running my program. But when you click that, there's a tab in there where it'll point you to where the laser is, and then you can adjust the gain. So if like the laser's getting old, and this should never happen to you, but it's just throwing it out there. And your laser is getting usually around 7,000 where I see it all the way up to 8. So usually like mid-6s to 8,000 is where I normally see the laser. So if that starts dropping down, you can up that gain to bring it back up. And it would be in this folder here under M-test. And then let's go programs. spectra, where you store your data, your different reports, pretty much how you're going to run the IR itself. MicroLab Lite is minus, it's everything this is minus the control of the instrument. So you'll be able to edit methods, process data, look at data. You could export it in a CSV format if you wanted, all through MicroLab Lite. You can still do that through MicroLab PC. And this is why I think MicroLab Lite, it should have launched. You should still be able to do stuff in that while this is amazing because I have MicroLab on. This program here is mainly just for me. So normally when I do the installs or PMs, I normally run these tests, right? These ones I'm running now. You can run them through MicroLab PC, but it doesn't give you any paperwork. All it does is just post the data, it says it passed or failed. MicroLab OQ will actually give you paperwork that says pass fail. So if you need that type of paperwork, it's best just to run it through that MicroLab OQ. And this MicroLab Quant, I don't know if you guys are planning to quantitate anything. The transmission module made TRM the best for it. Maybe the transmission model is better if you have a good, like, homogeneous mixture of your sample at a certain concentration, and you'll see whatever you try to quantitate on, and it goes up with concentration. You can create a curve, and from that curve, you can use it as a predictive model, or use it as a method to calculate that in other samples. That's pretty much what it's used for. The best one for it is the accessories are the tumbler, and there was the dial are better for quantitation. I believe the transmission will be better. If I had to go in order, I think transmission would be better because you have control of how the other sample is. This will be fast. Thank you. I didn't want to have you guys have to come back like, oh, I'm done now after you just left trying to control everything together. So I do apologize. My judgment on time on how long this will take is a little bit off. If you ever lose any of these on here, they're all pretty much here. If you ever lose that, if you go down to that folder that I showed you, see, program files 86, Agilent, and if you scroll through this, it should have MicroLab Lite, MicroLab PC, and you can create shortcuts from that. Pretty much all of the rest of it. Another thing you need to know is all the data right now is going to be stored under this PC, users, public documents. So all your data is going to be stored results. You can have it go wherever you want, but it defaults to this. You can create a library. It's going to default to this. There's a few demo libraries in here. they sorely need to add, so it fits the whole screen. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to advanced features. And all those tests I ran can be found under system check. If you go to previous results, that's the last time they were ran. It'll say whether or not it passed or failed. When you run the laser frequency, if you don't uncheck this box, what will happen? So if you check this, and you run it, it's going to give you a new laser frequency. It's going to say, here's everything. Let's say most of them pass, but one fails. Now I want to set the new laser frequency to the one I calculated. Well, with this box checked, I can't do that. I don't know why it's there. I normally just uncheck it, I run it. If I don't want to apply the new laser frequency, then you can just move on. If you want to, you can on the bottom right hand corner, just set new laser frequency. And then I normally run it again. And make sure it passes the second time. All these tests together take about an hour. These are the amount of tests it does at pretty much 15 minutes, 30 minutes. These are about 10 minutes. So it takes about an hour. The other thing you might need to know is diagnostics. So if you ever think there's a problem, you can come in here and look. And you can see if everything's green, you're good to go. Especially the laser frequency and energy. There are some other things, like these are kind of monitored through the software, whether or not it's good or not. As long as it's green, it's good. This source is actually, I think that's a ratio of the resistance to like so many volts. As this goes down, so what happens is it's just a little wire, and as it starts degrading, it gets thinner and thinner, and the resistance goes down right before it breaks. And then that's kind of when you know you're going to have to change your source. So if you wanted to keep an eye on this, from 7, 6, you're like, you know what? I don't want to risk getting able to change the source. So, or please put in a call to have it done. It's not hard. I don't know if it's customer changeable. I think it is. I'm not sure how it's done it. If your gain is off for this, you can over here and adjust it. Choose whatever you want. Normally I shoot for 25, 26,000 signal. Problem is if you go, it caps out at 32,000, but when you get below a certain amount, you'll see this blue and yellow light. So even if I put this on, if I set this gain too low and I put this on, and this energy is like at 10 or 12,000 per signal, you're not going to get the best spectrum. And this will be blinking and let you collect it, but it's not going to be the best data. So normally I keep this around 25, 26. The only way, like this should not degrade the accessory itself. But what will happen is your source will get older and the type of physical you're going to have to update. There's two types of way you can set the gain. I'm going to show you why I don't like set method gain, and why you should just always go to settings with default gain, which I already set. I'll show you where the set method gain applies. So if I go home and I go to the methods, and I go to if I go to instrument, you'll see if I click this, like set method gain, I put a gain in there, or if I hit it on a diagnostics screen, the set method gain. Well, what happens if you don't know that's on in the software? And what you'll do is, it's caught me a few times, like, man, my signal's low, because I loaded a method that's so old that the gain doesn't apply, it's just too low. And so I'll go and I'll adjust my gain through diagnostics, I'll hit set instrument gain. And then I'll get out of there again, and it goes right back to what you remember. And it took me like 5 minutes to figure that out. So you can apply this, but if you only have one accessory, it's really not consistent, right? Because you set instrument grading, that one accessory is the only one that's going to be on there. You're going to go forever. So, cover this, but if I go to methods, these are all the methods that are normally used for running diagnostic tests, except for the default one. You can edit this one, or you can just hit new. So if I go to new, there's 3 types of way I can run this. I can do qualitative, data collect only, and components. Components are normally for quantitation. Data collect is for picking only. And then qualitative is for library searches. So, you have a library, create a library, you want to compare to that. This is normally one of these 2 that most everybody runs on. You'll notice at the beginning, every time I hit start, it'll have that clean crystal check. What it's doing is just making sure that before it runs the next spectra, that the crystal's clean right. As it ages, though, little scratches and stuff on the crystal, after a while, this will start failing. So you can either up the threshold, or you can reset it in diagnostics. There's a spot there to reset it. The clean crystal valve. So you can do that, and then the next one it takes becomes its baseline. You have 2 ways to collect your background. You can do every sample, which most people don't let change that much throughout the day, or you can set the background, timer. So after so many minutes, collect it. Again, if you choose this and you need to collect another background, the only way to do is to come in here and change this method to collect every sample, or you go to diagnostics and you hit reset background value. So reset clean, reset background. Let's see. This is where you can set your units. So if you like collecting in transmittance or absorbance, for some reason defaults to absorbance. I was always used to transmittance. When you set it to transmittance, these go bye-bye. So the reason why, the real-time plot shows you real-time plot of spectrum. When you have a 2% absorbance, it'll keep going up to 1, maybe 2 absorbance units. If you want to be able to only see a certain height on the absorbance, you can set this clamp Y max. So if I don't want to see 5, let's see, my biggest peak goes up to 2, but I want to see lower on that real time, I can set this lower, and then the max becomes whatever I put in here, like 1. And so no matter if that biggest peak tops out, it's still zoomed in on the lower ones. And you can also set a minimum Y, like this is as low as I want to see. These 2 don't really apply. This is for an animal group. So a lot of times I just keep that off unless you gotta do another one. This is our full scale. I covered that earlier. Only go down to 650. You can edit this yourself too if you only want to see a certain range. You can only have it take the spectrum of a certain range. Just on the background and sample scan. So the more you collect on background and sample, the less noise you're going to get, but you increase the time scan. Resolution, it goes down to small as it goes. These are different calculations. I don't necessarily know what each one is, but we're studying. But, you know, it's just mathematical conversions. So if you want to see triangular or boxcar, you can just change it in the method and reprocess it. And you'll see how it works that way. Sampling technology. So if you have multiple accessories, you could drill down this method to only apply to that accessory. So nobody could just put an accessory on there. So you could drill this method down to that one accessory. And so if you put a different accessory on, it'll say you don't have the right accessories. This is where you would add libraries. So if I hit add, it'll go to that folder where the libraries are, the pre-demo ones. We can just test it out, but I can hit all three of them because they all have ATR spectrum. And it tells you whether or not it passes. This is the search algorithm, so you can exclude regions. Let's say past the region is all noise, you don't want to see it, you only want to compare this region to your standard. You can exclude certain regions to be able to do that. The search algorithm, a lot of different ones, just do similarity, but make it up there and search it however you want, just based on these different algorithms. This is your hit quality. So 80% is pretty much what it's shooting. 80% or higher is going to show you I have a hit. Most try a 90 or better. This is how many hits you want to show in your report. 5, 6, for each compound. Usually I do like the best 2. If I want to turn these on, these are also percentages in a way, and so you can set your minimum criteria for this is a quality hit, this is a marginal one. So if I set this to 0.9 or 90, now this is where it gets weird. I'd have to set this to like 0.5. I don't know why, and you'll see when I run this what it'll show. You can also create residual plots for searches. So you can create a residual library where it's just your sample minus the standard, and those are the points of use. I've never had use for that, but maybe somebody does. And you can use the spectrum that you want to define with residual. So you can do top hit, create a whole library full of residuals, or if you know, like this is the one I'm going to compare it to every time. I don't know, it just seems silly to do that. Maybe there's a good reason why. Custom fields, I mean, you can add text to numbers and stuff, spectrum, eyes and stuff like that. Then the different reports. So these 4 right here pretty much have to do with library searches. And then that's just a regular spectrum. She shows you 50. And I'll show you that. And we'll use an example of reprocessing. I'll show you. This is where you want to store your data. So right now, defaults to the results folder, but you can have it store anywhere you want. Like if you want it on the thumb drive, you want it, whatever. You just got to make sure you have the thumb drive plugged in, or if you want to store it on a folder somewhere else on the desktop. This is your export. So you have 3 different ways to export it. You can do ASP, the thermograms. So Thermal has their format. You could export it into that if you want to look at it on thermal software. Or you can do a CSV where you can pull it up in Excel and then work up data that way. just how do you want the results in the name of the type of field. Date time, save life, date time. Normally I just kind of leave it default. And then when you're running, you want to automatically generate these reports. Which I normally choose yes. There's a place you can find them, I'll show you where it does automatically generate. We're going to save as choose my method, I'm going to add it. So now that's my method. And then when I start, it's going to walk me through. Here's what you do. I'm going to check my crystal. Now I'm going to collect my background, which is only expected. That's going to tell you how to add it. I normally just put next if I already know, so I get to the real-time clock, so I don't need to see that. So that's what a residual plot would look like. So now I want to correct that, right? So I can go to previous results. See if it'll let me correct this. I'm going to choose this one. Data handling. That's a glitch in the software. I want an actual spectrum. So I want to be able to add it to library. I'll give you 9% matches. But it's going to do it in, so I chose 4 different reports. So you have to decide which report best suits you. You know, this is stacked. No, that was overlaid. This is stacked. This is overlaid. So it's either zoomed in or zoomed out overlaid this time. So here you'll see, so if I had something that was below 90%, which I should put 9, whatever, like those different fields where I put like 0.9, 0.85, it'll be colored yellow and then red. So if it's below 80,
create a report that just gives me my IR spectrum.
Let's do that. So if I go to methods, we go to edit, I change this to data collect only. Right? Let's say I want to change this to look at transmittance. I'm going to change the transmittance. I'm going to hit save. Right? And then I can either run it this way, but if I want to reprocess whole data, I can use this method to do it. Because I didn't change anything that would require the instrument to rerun. So if I go back to previous results, this one, view, so now I officially did that. So now I can peek it, right? So two ways to do it. I can right click. I can pick one peak. I can do clear labels. I can pick multiple peaks. So if I do this and draw a line, so I can go in here and literally just click where I want. If I choose select label by name, and I can clear all labels. So if I go back here and do this, I can go like, I like that one. Just pick a few. So if I go back to data handling, so let's save that. I can either overwrite the results, or I can say go to the data constant. Overwrite it.
So the default reporting system will just give us a normal IR spectrum, provided we click transmittance in the drop-down window.
Well, that
or the
and
method.
data, so it was that and,
Because I mean, you're clicking a lot of stuff, but I can't read anything that's on the screen. From
oh
back
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
So
Sorry.
I'm like, I don't know what exactly you're clicking.
So it was data collect only, is where that gets you those peaks. The other thing you'd have to choose, like none of these actually have to do with, this is all library matching. So really, I just want the spectrum, right?
And that says just Spectra?
Spectrum dot docs. So also too, we don't have Word on here, but you can pull these reports up in Word and edit them. And there's stuff in the manual. I've never really done it. So the thing I don't like, oh, I know why. Because I'll probably have to come in here.
That's gonna be
The only thing I will say that the software's in is, like, I can't change decimal places or what you want the peak label as. It's always going to give you a wave number and what's the other one? Wave number. I guess that's. What's the other number? I guess so.
So basically gives you the intensity.
Yes.
And the wave number.
I was looking at this scale and it didn't make sense. It looked like transmittance, but it goes from 10 to 50 the 0 to, oh, this should be 100. Okay, never mind. They cut that off. It says 10, it should be 100.
So we can't know that transfer is coming from.
No, you just get, well, let's see what the report says, right? Or if I go back to the report. Yeah, it gives you the intensity. But if you go to this report, you delete that column, I will give it to you.
How do we get the raw data?
Oh, so if you want it for like working up in Excel, you will go to method again, and then reports, and then you'll export it as CSV. Alright, so if I do that,
So first I have to make a method and then I have to run the samples inside that amount.
well, once you make you can make the method to do everything at once, right? And it just pops out data for you. I'm just going back to reanalyze every time instead of running. Again, it's not going to give me any. It doesn't give you anything at first, right? Because you didn't pick anything. You have to come in here and pick peaks. So let's say I just want one peak or these two. This one. And then I go to data handling, save it. Right. And then I'm going to go to the report. And then if I want my CSV data, that should have dumped.
But it's export.
Export.
It's an export button.
Oh yeah, so you can do, so, that's otherwise, you can do it by having the method do it every time you run it, or you can click on your sample and then hit export, and then this is where it's gonna dump it. And then you choose CSV, and that's gonna be, so you can rename it, like I can rename this CSV. So if I hit OK, it's gonna dump it to that folder I mentioned earlier. It's under users, public documents. It's gonna be under results. So it should be. Where are you? There it is. Well, that's the first time it did it through the method when I reprocessed it, and then that's the second time when I. So you can grab that, and this is where all of your reports are going to be saved too. So it'll get pretty messy after a while, but if I create, say I create a folder in here. If you want to create folders for yourself, there's lots of things, right? And then. So you can create your own folder for your own method. So if we go back to our previous results, that's what we're going to start showing. And we'll let you create a folder in here. You pretty much have to do it. The nice thing though is these are interchangeable. So if you're like, hey man, I really need to run it upstairs, I'm gonna take this. So you can just take this off and put on the one upstairs.
Yeah, except this is owned by Dr. Honda, so we can't do that. So nobody thinks that's a good idea.
Ask permission.
Yeah.
Again, if you ever take it off, this is what protects this from dust. Also, these are RFID chips. So if you, let's say, you were to take that transmittance module off and put it down here, it knows I have a transmittance. The first time you put it on here, it'll auto gain for you and set the gain automatically. So yeah, the little RFID chip is here. So if you had multiple accessories, it would help. And then you put it back on, and just line up these screws. And take it off, there's this little lever. You got full side. Just bounce that up. As far as the desiccant I was talking about, on the back, there's an indicator, and this is the actual desiccant cartridge on the bottom. And it just has a blue circle in the middle. It used to be metal, and then they're like, why are we making it out of expensive metal? Now they're making it out of plastic. And it used to be look just like this, the 10, 20, 30. Now they're like, once that turns pink, or gets close to it, you need to change it out.
So I see that that has a gas port on the back to be flooded with an inert
Nitrogen.
dry gas. Do you recommend that, or is that not really necessary?
It's not for the ATR. The only time it's ever needed, and even then, not really so much, is if we take the covers off. I have to replace a source or a laser. It's recommended that you flush with nitrogen for like 10, 15 minutes to get all the moisture out. But this is a zinc instrument, so again, not really needed. Normally what I do is I put the old desiccant back in, and I leave the desiccant with me. And say, like a day, change those out. So that way all the moisture is taken away. You do have a kit upstairs for purging this. And I'll show you, we can go upstairs. Yeah, periodically, you would run this laser. So this actually calibrates the laser, and your wavelength, wave number accuracy is dependent on it. Just use this, and then watch it through what to do. And then that's where you run check this box. So if one of them fails, then you say, okay, apply new frequency. And then I run it again to make sure it passes. These other two tests, that's more for the source and the interferometer and the detector. If one of those two tests fail, it's something wrong with the instrument. I usually, maybe not signal the noise, but sometimes. No, stability. Stability, if you shake it, whatever. But usually that means there's something wrong internally that I can't fix. And what you'll see is over time, when the interferometer starts to go, and it takes years and years before that needs to really work, you'll see the signal and noise start to go. And it gives you, it'll tell you, it passes. Actually, it doesn't say it. So that'll start to go, and it could be the source too, just pulling back. So normally I try to replace the source, and if that doesn't work, it's usually good. Something like a beam splitter. You could always try the window, because it does have to go through that window to get back to the detector.
So every once in a while, how often would you say?
Just maybe quarterly.
Okay, every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it's not something that's necessarily needed that often. I run them like places I do yearly PMs on. I run them, and they have run it all year, and it still passes. So they're usually pretty stable. So
I was going to say, based on it just being testing the overall health of the laser, as we get better and better technologies, it's going to become.
well, and that laser is guaranteed for 10 years. The source is 5, and the interferometer, the moving parts on there is 5. The only why I say moving parts is because of the beam splitter. If you get too much moisture in there, it's more like a side issue than the instrument one, the guarantee doesn't apply. But if you keep it, and they can tell, if they look at a beam splitter, there's a bunch of water and moisture degradation on it, they can tell. you know, if it's kept right. So I always just tell customers or anybody, just leave them on. Because if you turn it off all, you know, on and off all the time, your desiccant goes bad faster because moisture's getting in.
So it warms up and cools
Yes.
down.
Well, and with this on, I mean, you can feel the top of it is super, super warm from the source. That drives the moisture out. So as long as you keep that on, yeah, if you want, pretty much, sometimes I haven't had to change desiccants for years. And those are not cheap. They're like $280 for one
That's a
desiccant.
little cartridge.
Well, it's not even probably like you unscrew it and it's got threads, and then on the back end is where the desiccant is. And for the life of me, I don't know why. Because before they used to be metal, and you could unscrew them, and there's just desiccant inside. And I'm like, why didn't we make it to reproduce because of the desiccant? Well, that's the only consumable part we made.
I was gonna say yes,
So-
because then it's not $280
Yeah.
anymore.
And Agilent didn't even like, oh, we're gonna make it out of plastic now. It's like, oh, is it gonna be cheaper to the customer? No, it's just costing us too much. So, you know, it's a business. So any way they can save money. So that's why I always recommend to customers is just move it on. And you know, I've also said too, like you can experiment with trying to recharge the desiccant, put it in the desiccator, see if it comes back. I don't know too many people have done it. They used to take them. I know a few people took the metal ones and would stick them in the oven at like at 50 degrees to try and regenerate the desiccant. I don't know if they know that because, like I said, they get expensive. But if you never turn it off, you'll never really have to replace it. One last thing. I turn this feature off. If I go advanced features, and there's enable security. On both instruments, it's admin. I turn this back on, right? Now I could give everybody their own login, right? And that login information will go on the report as well. And there's different permissions. So you can do like service to be media developer, someone with a little bit more elevated rights. I don't necessarily know exactly all the rights out of the manual. I know admin has full rights. Technician has the least amount of rights. Right? But if I'm an administrator, and I come into methods, and then I click all. I'm going to click only this method. Right? That's the only one I want to be made public, or the default. And then I go user management. I'm going to create, let's say, technician. I'm going to call this one. So if you don't want to mess around with your methods, or let's say it's a student and you just want to be able to run just a method, you let them run. You can set this up. But you'll see they get no other access to it. So I can create a method, all I can do is activate it. So if I activate it, I can run it. That's pretty much it. I don't even think you can mess with the data except for if you have it in there to dump to the CSV. So that, to me, is the only thing worthwhile. If I log off, I can log off this. So if I go in, I can disable this. If I go to advanced feature, user management, ways to add, briefly, two ways to add samples to a library. One's library management. If I come in here and I can hit add to library. And I can pick the library I want to add to. Right now it doesn't have my test library anymore. So I have the test library. So that's the second way. Or after you're done running, they'll have that option too. The only other thing is if you want to be able to see the blank